This morning's Dharma message will be given by Sharlene Hōju Gee. Sharlene Hōju serves as Zazen Kai secretary and is a member of the Daifukuji Zen Taiko and the Dharma Study Group. She also helps with Samu every Friday morning. It is with great pleasure that I introduce Sharlene Hōju.
Good morning, everybody. So this is Keizan Zenji's 700th memorial year. So if you can imagine our Daifukuji ancestors here on the wall, how far would it have to go to start with Shakyamuni and our fourth patriarch, Keizan Zenji. And just this past Thursday, November 21st, was Keizan Zenji's birthday. So a little bit of background why I'm here. It was about a year ago that we were planning for our January All Zen retreat that we do, our Zazen Kai does together with Taishoji in Hilo and Alanea Zendo. And because of this 700th memorial event, we wanted to speak about Keizan Zenji. So we divided it up, and Eliana Jisho spoke about his childhood, and Terry Jiden spoke about Keizan and women. And my talk was about his monastic training and accomplishments. And then Reverend Jigo asked us to expand on these throughout the services this year. So, can you remember when you were 8 years old? I'm just gonna pause a little so you can think about your own experience, 8 years old. Can you imagine shaving your head, leaving your family, donning monk's clothes, and moving into a monastery and beginning spiritual practice as a novice? Keizan Zenji's monastic training began in this way in 1271 at such a young age. His spiritual journey continued with dedication, compassion, and unwavering commitment to spreading the teachings of Zen. He became a revered master, a visionary leader who reshaped Soto Zen Buddhism and whose legacy continues to resonate today. Dogen is regarded as the founder of Soto Zen, the #1 photo. Keizan has been referred to as its mother, the second founder, and the fourth patriarch of the Japanese Soto sect, the fourth patriarch. Before Keizan, Soto Zen had been confined to a few small monasteries in Japan, none of which were in Kyoto, which was the spiritual center at his time. Because of Keizan's influence, Soto was popularized and not only flourished, but became the largest of all the Buddhist churches. So again, today I'm going to touch on his monastic training and some of his remarkable accomplishments. His monastic training. Influenced by his devout mother, Keizan entered Eiheiji Monastery at the young age of 8. Keizan began his practice as a young novice under the third abbot, Tetsu Gikai. He embarked on a rigorous path, diligently practicing meditation, chanting sutras, performing manual labor, and studying the intricacies of Zen philosophy. He immersed himself in Zen discipline. At the ripe age of 13, he was ordained as a novice, the last disciple ordained by Koun Eijo, who had been the second abbot of Eiheiji. It was under Jakuen that Keizan experienced a significant breakthrough, awakening to the Bodhi-seeking mind, and reached the stage of non-backsliding, a state of unwavering commitment to the path. He was 18 when he received complete ordination. Keizan studied Zen directly under 4 of Dogen's leading disciples, Eijo, Jakuen, Gien, and Gikai. He practiced and served as resident priest in other locations in Japan before he received Dharma transmission from Tetsu Gikai at age 32. inheriting Gikai's Dharma line. I'm going to move to accomplishments now. His diverse experience and teachers enriched his perspective and ignited a passion for reform. Keizan, unlike previous masters, believed Zen's teachings should reach beyond the confines of monasteries. He was open to local customs, and he emphasized sharing the heart of Dogen Zenji's teachings in ways that adapted to local customs and situations. He reformed Soto to be more compatible with the simple religious sentiments of rural Japanese, performing funerals, weddings, and memorials to help spread the teaching in everyday people's daily lives. He became an exceptional teacher, known for his clear explanations and emphasis on practical application. He revitalized Soto Zen, making it accessible to lay people, rural communities, and significantly women. This was radical, as women were largely excluded from Buddhist study at the time. His mother's influence and his own observations of her devotion to Kannon, the Bodhisattva of compassion, likely played a role in this progressive stance. He emphasized the equality of men and women. This led him to champion the education and training of women in Zen. He actively promoted his female disciples to become resident priests. Keizan wasn't just a teacher, he was a prolific writer. He penned numerous influential texts. Interestingly, Keizan's numerous writings were not collected, edited, or published during his lifetime. They were used by him to teach. Major works attributed to him include Denko Roku, Zazen Yojinki, and Keizan Shingi. Denko Roku, History of the Transmission of the Light, is a history of the Soto Zen lineage, a spiritual genealogy, up to his time. And there's a section in our library focused on Keizan, and I borrowed one of these books upon Clear Houn's suggestion. And the chapter contents reads, Chapter 1, Shakyamuni Buddha, the Awakened One. Chapter 2, the first ancestor, the sainted Makakasho. Chapter 3, the second ancestor, and so on for 52 of the ancestors. And Keizan wrote a poem at the end of each of the 53 enlightenment experiences. For example, the one from Shakyamuni Buddha, unsurpassed in the beauty of its graceful form is the old plum tree. Its spiny branches, when the season is ripe, will burst forth in bloom. And so there are 53 of these poems which I've read. It's also interesting to read poem after poem, and these were penned by Keizan. Another work written for his student practitioners at Daifukuji was Zazen Yojinki, How to Practice Sitting Zen, which was an instructional guide to Zazen practice for monks and laymen. The third work I mentioned, Keizan Shingi, is Pure Standards. That described Keizan's standards of monastic life. It provided comprehensive details on specific methods and rituals for 3 types of practice schedules. 1 was basic daily, 2 monthly held on specific days, and 3 annual held on specific days. These 3 remain, and others, remain cornerstones of Soto Zen literature, having guided practitioners for centuries and still today. In addition to being a teacher and writing works with which to teach, Keizan established numerous temples. His major accomplishment, which gave rise to his status as second patriarch of Soto Zen, was the founding of Soji Gee, the head temple of the largest Soto faction. It's in Tsurumi, Yokohama City. It was a vibrant center for Zen training, learning and practice, welcoming lay people alongside monks. Soji Gee soon overshadowed Eiheiji as the principal Soto temple. It eventually, beyond his lifetime, became the institutional head of 4 regional networks with several thousand temples under them. By 1589, the imperial court recognized Sojiji as the head temple of the Soto school, above AAG. The two temples remained rivals for imperial support, but by the time of the Meiji Restoration in 1872, they had arrived at a truce, acknowledged in the characterization that the Soto school followed the maxims of the founding patriarch Dogen and the aspirations of the late teacher Keizan. The adoption of Keizan as a patriarch equal to Dogen was meant to symbolize that all Soto lineages also accepted Sojiji's position as a head temple equal to Dogen's AAG. Keizan was supportive of the lay practice of Soto Zen and gave the Bodhisattva precepts in the Jukai ceremony that we still do today, centuries later. On my wagesa that I received when taking the precepts, and many of you have on, there are two Soto Zen crests. One is AAG's, a radial pattern of a gentian flower and leaves, and this is capturing the essence of the Soto Zen school, which was transmitted from China 800 years ago during the Kamakura period by Dogen Zenji. Equally important in stature is Sojiji, represented by the crest here. It's of paulownia leaves and has 3 prongs of flower buds, and I just learned that there are 5 buds, 7 buds, and 5, which are like a haiku. So that's representing Keizan's temple. So summarizing so far, Keizan was noteworthy as a teacher, writer, and founder of Sojiji. One could consider another influential contribution to be political or diplomatic. He provided detailed instructions on how the abbotship of his monasteries should be rotated among several lines of succession so as to ensure united support and avoid schisms. This method of rotating abbotship became widely adopted among subsequent Soto monasteries. It was implemented and most successfully at Sojiji, which eventually grew to have more affiliated branch temples than any other Soto institution. So in closing, Keizan Zenji has illuminated that the path of Zen is not confined to monasteries, but can blossom in the hearts of all who seek it. He was instrumental in enhancing the Soto Zen teachings and expanding the school. Enlightenment is not just for monks, but attainable by anyone, anywhere. He embraced inclusivity, championed lay practice, and built bridges between Zen and everyday life. His legacy lives on in the vibrant communities he established, the teachings he penned, and in the countless individuals who continue to find solace and wisdom in his words.